All right, hello everybody. Welcome back to Glasscast. Today I'm going to be talking about Shohei Ohtani. My argument is that he is the most scarce baseball player of all time. Yeah, that is pretty crazy to say. For those not familiar with the word scarce, it means something insufficient to meet demand, rare, or not plentiful. I'm going to be focusing on the rare part because this guy is very scarce. There's low demand of him. of people like him, how amazing an impact he has. So I'm going to be talking about his international impact, brand growth, and social image in this. The first thing I'm going to bring up is MLB TV saw a 34% increase in viewership last season, where in the top 10 most viewed games, they all featured Shohei Ohtani. Every single game in the top 10. That's pretty crazy. The next statistic I'm going to be bringing up is the viewership internationally. Obviously, it's not all due to Ohtani, but he is the face of Major League Baseball and baseball in general throughout the whole world. There is a global viewership increase of 18%. In Asia, it was 32%, and Latin America was 16%. The game of baseball keeps growing. It's good for Ohtani. It's good for MLB. It's good for everybody. We love it. We love seeing this. And I've actually been to an Angels game. We're about to talk about when Ohtani was on the Angels, but it was different. I've really never been to a game where one player in professional sports is just completely idolized. It does not really matter what's happening in the game. Just matters what he's doing. And that's what it was like. It didn't feel real. It didn't feel like an MLB game with him there. It just felt like he was the attraction. It was a tourist attraction just for him. Not even the game. So that was pretty cool. But this is a stat, I'll pull it up, but there was a 40% attendance increase at Angels away games. 40% in 1 year. That's pretty unbelievable. Now I'm going to get deep into his contract. No, I don't know too deep, but we're going to get into his contract. He obviously signed the biggest deal in sports history, $700 million. It's a lot of money, but you got to read in the fine print because he deferred his money. And basically, it was pretty unprecedented what he's doing. But it's a majority of his salary, and he's giving the Dodgers money so they can sign free agents, and they're not restrained because they're paying him so much money, basically. And that just makes his personal brand even better. He wants to win. He doesn't care about money. I mean, obviously he cares about money. I'll get into how much money he made in endorsements in a second here. It's off the charts. I don't even know how it's real. The Dodgers can potentially be the first team to win 3 straight World Series since the 1998 to 2000 Yankees. I don't want to see a dynasty. I don't want to see this dynasty. I don't. I hate the Dodgers. But I still love Ohtani. We're getting into his contract right now. Well, we're not getting into his contract. We're going to get into his... Well, yes, it is his contract. His endorsements deals. So, out of all these players, Ohtani is the second in making money this year. In 2025, he made the second most money in the MLB. $2 million. Only $2 million he made off of contract. Because he deferred his money. So then how is he still second? He made $100 million in endorsements. Just endorsements. The second closest player in baseball is $10 million. Bryce Harper. Look at that gap. The gap is not close. The gap is not close. He's just great. There's really nothing to compute with that. How is that even real? It's real because his international audience is something we've never seen before. He's the face of a country. He's a face of a sport. He's a face of a league. And he's a face of a company, New Balance. New Balance has really, really tried to I guess, shadow Michael Jordan and Nike in their advertisements of him and how they try to use him. One of my favorite commercials was the unicorn commercial, and basically there's a guy, he's talking about a bunch of goats, there's a bunch of goats around, and at the end he says, you know, I don't care about the goats, it's not even a debate anymore, I want the unicorn. Unicorn, scarce, there's not a lot of them. Ohtani is scarce, he pitches and he hits, nobody does that in the MLB, and he's a winner, he hits over 300 every year basically, 4-time unanimous MVP. There's not much to argue here. I think he's the most scarce athlete of all time. Maybe you could argue Jordan, maybe you could argue LeBron, but the fact that you don't just have a United States audience, that you bring an entire new viewership to baseball, to yourself, it's just unbelievable. It really is. Across Asia, across Europe, people are watching. And hopefully the sport grows even more because it's such a great sport. And we'll see what happens in the future. We just had the greatest World Baseball Classic we ever had, most talented. And could have Ohtani in a way because, you know, they won that WBC and said, hey, I see the best player in baseball playing for his home country, trying to win. Now everybody else wants to do it. He's good for baseball. He's good for the sport. He's good for the league. He's good for everything he's involved in. That's why everybody wants to be in with him. They want to endorse him. They want to sponsor him. They want to because he has so much upside. There's basically no downside. There really is nothing. A great man and an even better player, Shohei Ohtani. That's it for Glasscast. See you guys next time.